Okay, guys. You don't even know what an honor, what a zchut it is for me to stand over here in front of you guys, to stand here and talk to you guys. You don't even know. First of all, just to stand over here in this place, this is the place where the Rosh Yeshivas of Chafetz Chaim stand and speak, the big rabbis of this yeshiva. So it's a big zchut just to stand in this place. My Rosh Yeshiva Zatzal that passed away, my Rebbe who started this yeshiva many years ago, used to stand in this place and speak when I used to sit over there and listen to him. So it's a big honor, big zchut just to stand here. Besides that, I don't know if you guys know, but Hashem loves you more than you can ever imagine and more than you can love yourself. So why does Hashem love you so much? Hashem loves me more than I can imagine, more than I can, there's no way I could fathom that. There's over 7 billion people in the world. There's 7 billion people who love other people. They love their children, their lives, love their families. All that love comes from Hashem. All that love comes from the program that Hashem put into their heart. There's billions of people who are in love with each other because they're their children, their parents, or whatever it is. And all that love comes from Hashem. So you cannot begin to imagine how much Hashem loves each and one of you guys. So it's a big zechut for me, it's a big honor for me to stand in front of you, the children of God, and speak to you. I'm going to share a thought with you that will hopefully make it easier to understand a little bit the pain and the suffering that we're in. You know what is the biggest proof that there's a God in the world and God runs the world? You know what's the biggest proof that there's a God in the world and God runs the world? Anybody can guess? What's the biggest proof? What's the biggest proof? Us. That's right, my man. You guys are here on a boiling hot day, coming to learn Torah, coming to listen to Torah that was given 3,000 years ago. I think they asked Einstein, what do you think is the biggest miracle that ever happened? And he said that the Jewish people are still keeping the Torah 3,000 years later. After all the troubles that we went through, all the prosecutions on the Holocaust and all the Spanish Inquisitions, all the crazy things that people are trying to wipe us out every single generation, you have kids over here, children, not adults, children who are coming to sit and learn Torah on a fast day. I'm sure most of you guys are fasting. Some of you guys are fasting. I'm sure some of you guys, it's mind-boggling if you think about it. Really, if you think about it, it's mind-boggling. When I was your age, I was not going to learn Torah. I was a big troublemaker. I used to be in public school myself. I was running after different things. I was not running to come to yeshiva to learn on a hot fast day. So I want to share with you a thought. First of all, you should know, since Hashem loves you very much and we are all in exile and we don't have the chance to get to know our Father, Hashem is in tremendous amount of agony and in pain. Hashem is in so much pain that you cannot begin to imagine. The reason for why we're crying today is because our fathers and ourselves, every generation that the Beit HaMikdash is not built is considered to be that generation destroyed the Beit HaMikdash. Would you ever dream of taking a torch and putting it to this beautiful building and burning it down with the Sefer Torah inside? Would you ever dream of doing something like that? Every generation that the Beit HaMikdash was not built, that generation is going to be held accountable for burning the Beit HaMikdash down. Do you guys know who destroyed the Beit HaMikdash? Who? The Babylonians? Who else destroyed the Beit HaMikdash? Us. Us. It's always us. The answer is always us. We destroyed the Beit HaMikdash. My father said to me today, why are we crying? Why are we sitting on the floor? For thousands of years ago, some building was burned down. I tried to explain to him what it meant that the Beit HaMikdash was burned down to the ground. And it's not the Goyim who did it, it's us who did it. It was very hard for him to understand this concept. Rabotai, we destroyed the Beit HaMikdash. We have to take responsibility for it. We have to feel that we could build it. Hashem put us in this world, Hashem gave us the challenge to build the Beit HaMikdash. It means we could do it. You know, sometimes you think it's so hard, it's so far. How can we build the Beit HaMikdash? If Rabbi Akiva was not able to build the Beit HaMikdash, the Chafetz Chaim, the Ben Ish Chai, he was not able to build the Beit HaMikdash, how are we going to build the Beit HaMikdash? Rabotai, Rav Wolba explains a magnificent concept that is very hard for us to understand, very hard for us to feel it. But he says that Hashem is behind a very, very thin piece of paper. The wall between us and Hashem is very, very, very thin. And it takes very, very little real self-sacrifice. One person could bring the entire Mashiach, the whole world, into redemption. One person can change the entire world. Just self-sacrifice for Hashem, just to show Hashem that you really, really, really love another Jew, could bring Mashiach. It's so close. My Rosh Hashiva Zatzal used to say a shmuz. Every Rosh Hashanah we blow the shofar. Why we blow the shofar? One of the reasons why we blow the shofar is to trick the Yetzer Hara, to make him think that Mashiach is coming. What's going to happen to the Yetzer Hara when Mashiach comes? We're going to slaughter him. So every year we blow the shofar to trick him. Is the Yetzer Hara an idiot? Is he a fool? How many thousands of years can we trick him with the same trick? We're always going to blow the shofar and he's always going to run away? And isn't the Yetzer Hara very smart? He got Shlomo HaMelech to sin. This is the wisest man of all people. So how come we blow the shofar every year, and every year we're tricking him, and every year he runs away, and every year the Mashiach doesn't come? You know what the Rosh Hashiva answered? I think the Rosh Hashiva answered that the Yetzer Hara is in the world of truth. He's not being tricked. He sees the truth. When we blow the shofar, and we have the feelings of wanting to do teshuvah, on this holy day, the Yetzer Hara sees how close the Mashiach is. He knows that all we have to do is poke a little bit harder in the Yetzer Hara's eyes, and just to do a little bit more teshuvah, and the Mashiach will come. And the Yetzer Hara runs away every single year because he sees how close it is. Mashiach is so close beyond our imagination. The redemption is so close beyond our imaginations. But we have to believe in the redemption, we have to believe in Hashem, and we have to believe that Hashem wants to redeem us. I want to share with you guys a story so you can understand a little bit of how the great tzaddikim lived, how the righteous people lived. There was a big rabbi by the name of Rabbi Yechiel Michal Mizlachov. Sounds like a Bukharian city, Mizlachov, but it was not. I think it was a Hasidic rabbi. It was a very, very holy, very, very holy person. His wife and his children, he had a lot of children, and they didn't have bread and water to put on the table. Not on Tisha B'Av, like Erev Tisha B'Av for the meal. On a daily basis. They didn't have bread and water. One time a very wealthy man walked through the village, and he stopped by the rabbi's house to get his blessing. He walked into the house, and the rabbi was not there. He was in yeshiva learning. And his wife and his kids are in the house, and he sees that they're starving. They're hungry. So he says to the wife, why don't you give something to the kids to eat? She says, we don't have anything. I'm sorry for not offering something for you to eat, to drink. He said, what? How could this be? The greatest rabbi in the world, he doesn't have bread and he doesn't have water. He runs to the yeshiva to go speak to the rabbi. And he sees the rabbi is delving deep in his learning. He's afraid to approach him, and he's afraid to talk to him, but he walks over to him slowly and he sits next to him and he says, Rabbi, please forgive me, but I have to ask you a question. So the Rabbi picks his head up and he says, yes, how can I help you? He says, I walked into your house and I see your wife and your children. They don't have bread to put on the table. They don't have water to drink. How do you feel comfortable sitting and learning Torah? How do you feel comfortable dedicating your life to Hashem and to the Torah and not taking care of your wife and children? So the Rebbe, the Rebbe said to him, let me give you a story so you should understand how I feel comfortable sitting in the yeshiva and learning Torah. It says there was once a great king, and this great king had an only child. This king was the most powerful king in the world. He owned countries, armies, treasures. He had everything, but only one child. The day had come where his child now is about to get married, marriage age. What do you think the king is going to do? What kind of party is the king going to do for this child? Oh, forget about Elijah. What do you think this king is going to do? He's going to make a wedding that nobody ever saw before. He collected treasures from all over the world. Beautiful furniture from all over the world. He built a massive wedding hall. He brought the best bands from all over the world. He brought the most expensive chefs from all over the world. He created a wedding party that will be the wedding party that nobody ever saw a wedding party like this before. Everybody's all excited. The wedding day is about to come. They prepare the chatan. They prepare the kala. Now, there was one guy who was in charge of preparing everything. One guy in charge of everything. And he made sure that everything was in place. The music, the food, the video people, everything. Top to bottom, the clothes. And there were thousands of people that came to the wedding. Thousands of people had seats. When he came to sit down, after everything was settled and they're about to go into the chuppah, when he comes to sit, there's not a place for him to sit. He tries to squeeze himself to a certain corner, they kick him out. He tries to squeeze himself to another corner, they kick him out. Every corner he goes to, he gets kicked out. He gets so upset. He goes, you know what? I'm going to go to this king and I'm going to give him a piece of my mind. After all that I did for him, I sacrificed day and night for him for weeks for this wedding. I can't even get a seat in this. Everybody's eating steaks and oh, what they're eating over there. And I'm sitting there. I can't even find a chair to rest myself in. So he's walking towards the king. As he's walking towards the king, he sees the king's son falls down to the ground and faints. He stops. He's not sure what to do now with the king. What happened? The whole party stops. The king stops. Everybody stops. Everybody looks at this child. The doctors are running over to the child to try to revive him. He's unconscious. They pick him up. The king said, save him. Whatever you could do to save him, I'll give you my kingdom. Save my son. It's the only thing I have. This person was about to go to the king and complain about the fact that he doesn't have a seat. Said to himself, this is not the right time. This is not the right time. He went to the king and he said, what can I do to help? And the king told him, go get this doctor. And the story ended up being Baruch Hashem. The kid was saved and they did the wedding and everything was good. The rabbi says to this person who was sitting next to him in yeshiva, you want to know why I don't have time to worry about my parnasa? Because the king's son was thrown out of his house. That's the Jewish people. The Jewish people were thrown out of their house. The king himself went into exile with his son. His house was burned down. The kingdom was burned down. Everything was destroyed. The child himself was sent into exile, and so was the king himself. How can I go and worry about my parnasa? How can I go worry about my bread and my water when Hashem is in exile? Now I'm telling you guys this story. You guys are looking at me probably thinking to yourself, oh my God, this guy is rabbi. This rabbi is a cuckoo. What are you talking about? Of course you have to worry about your parnasa. These were great tzaddikim, very holy people, who felt the pain of Hashem, who we threw into exile, and felt the pain of the Jewish people. They felt the pain of the Jewish people who are in exile. I want to share with you a thought that the Rosh Yeshiva Zatzal said about Tisha B'Av and about the tzaddikim who were murdered. I'm sure you guys all heard of Rabbi Akiva, right? Rabbi Akiva, you heard of? Rabbi Akiva had 9 friends who were very great rabbis, great scholars. And they were the pillars, the foundation of the entire Torah world. It says in the Megillat Echa, it says, I think it's in Megillat Echa, maybe it's one of the Kinot. No, it says one of the Kinot. רשע הפושט עת הגיע למקום תפילין מצווה ברא, צעק צעקה ונזדעזעה עולם וארץ התפוררה. Guys, what I'm about to tell you maybe is not appropriate for your age. Some people should not be hearing this. I'm going to try not to make it so graphic. But there was a very big rabbi by the name of Rabbi Ishmael, Kohen Gadol. He was the Kohen in the Bet HaMikdash, Rabbi Ishmael. The Goyim took him and they skinned him alive. They took him and they literally tore his skin off his flesh. And they did horrible things to him. But he didn't scream, he didn't yell. While they were skinning him, he was not screaming, he was not yelling. They were cutting his skin off his flesh. And he was not crying, not screaming. The people who were cutting him up thought he lost his mind. Maybe he became crazy, so he doesn't feel the pain. But he was not crying and screaming. When they got to the place, when they were ready to cut off his skin by his forehead, where he puts on his tefillin, on top over here, he started screaming and he started yelling. And he said, woe to me that I lost the opportunity to put on tefillin. Woe to me that I cannot serve my Creator with my tefillin anymore. I don't really understand the story. It's very hard for me to understand the story. I have many questions on the story. But the Rosh Yeshiva of Chafetz Chaim points out, they were cutting him up into pieces. They were cutting his body. He was not screaming. But when they were cutting the area where he puts on his tefillin, he lost control. He couldn't take it anymore. Then he started screaming and crying, how can it be? It's not your fault, my man. It's not, relax, Rabbi Shmuel, it's not your fault. But they're forcing you not to have the mitzvah of tefillin. It's not your problem. How could it be that I'm going to lose the opportunity to put on tefillin, Rabotai? When you wake up in the morning, my friends, when you wake up in the morning, you have the opportunity to pray to God and to pull on a pair of tefillin. Do you know what that opportunity is worth? Do you know what that opportunity, what it means to stand up the Almighty and to put on tefillin and to daven to Him? Can you know what that means? You know what that's worth? We have no idea. We can't even begin to fathom what it means to Hashem, to God, and what it means to our neshama to put on a pair of tefillin and to daven. There is a machine that they came up with. I don't know if it's real, not real, I'm not even sure. But I like to think it's real because it came out very positive, very good when they connected me to that machine. That machine is able to check the aura around your body. There's a person that came to America over here, and he put it around a whole bunch of people in a certain place where I gave a class, and then he put it around myself. And when he put it around myself, the aura was amazing. So I really like the machine, I hope it's true. But he showed me a picture of the aura around Rabbi Mordechai Eliyahu. Rabbi Mordechai Eliyahu was one of the big Sephardi rabbis in Israel that passed away not too long ago, with his tefillin on and his talit on. The light was mesmerizing around his body. It was mesmerizing. It was like so shining. It was unbelievable. But we have no idea what it means to put on tefillin. We have no idea what it means to do a mitzvah, to say a bracha, to say Hashem's name, to have an opportunity to do something kind to somebody else. We have no idea what power we have. But I want to share with you another thought. I have another few minutes, I think, where the Rosh Hashiva takes this idea and takes it even a step further. It says in Tana de Be'eliyahu, I brought it with me over here, I wanted to read it for you over here. When it was time to kill these 10 tzaddikim, these 10 righteous people, you know what they said? They said, kill me first. Don't let me see my friend die. Kill me first. I want to die first. Kill me first. I want to die for Hashem's great name first. The question is, the Rosh Hashiva just told us when they skinned off his head by his tefillin, he was screaming with excruciating pain. How can he take away my mitzvah of tefillin? Why does he want to die first now? Why is he willing to die first? He wants to lose his opportunity to do mitzvot? Why is all these 10 rabbis saying, kill me first, kill me first? So the Rosh Hashiva's words are, I can't say it by heart, I want to read it to you because I know I'm going to mess it up. Listen to the words of the Rosh Hashiva. We know that one moment of life doing teshuvah, thinking about Hashem, is worth it more than the entire world to come. So what were they screaming? Why were they saying, kill me first? So he says, Tzarich lomar, you have to say like this. We have no idea. En lanu shum mussar klal begodel hatzar, in the great pain and the tragedy of the death of tzaddikim. When a tzaddik dies, it's worse than losing any mitzvah. It's worse than losing the Sefer Torah itself. It's worse than anything in the world. And when Rabbi Ishmael understood the pain and suffering of what it means to lose a mitzvah, he knew that it's worth it to lose 1,000,000 mitzvahs, but not to see his tzaddik, his friend, die. Now for us it's very hard to imagine and to understand concepts like this. But Rabotai, I want you to know, each and every one of you guys has tremendous amount of potential. Each and every one of you guys, inside of you has part of God. Part of God is inside of you. That part of God will never be happy until you satisfy it. And the only way you can satisfy it is by connecting to your Father, to Hashem. Inside of you there's a neshama, and the only thing that will make it happy is if you connect your neshama to Hashem. Whatever way you do it, whether it's doing tzedakah, whether it's learning Torah, whether it's putting on tefillin, whatever it is that you do, whatever mitzvah that you do, you have to take one mitzvah and try to perfect it. Take one mitzvah and make it the best mitzvah that you could do, because when you perfect that one mitzvah, that mitzvah is going to be your connection to Hashem in the ultimate way. The Rambam says in a book that he wrote called The 8 Chapters, if you do one mitzvah perfectly, you will enter into the world to come, after the resurrection, after Mashiach comes. But if you don't do one mitzvah perfectly, you're going to have a problem with the ticket to get in. If you don't have one mitzvah perfectly, you're going to have a problem to get into the world to come. And therefore we say, Rabbi Hanana ben Akasha Omer, Ratzah HaKadosh Baruch Hu lezdakot et Israel. God wanted to give us a lot of merits, and therefore He gave us tons of Torah and tons of mitzvahs, because maybe we'll get one right. That's what the Rambam says. Maybe you'll get one mitzvah right. I hope I was able to inspire you guys a little bit to think about Hashem, about Tisha B'Av, to realize how much Hashem loves you, how much Hashem loves us, and how much we have to do everything in our power to bring Hashem back into our lives. Have an easy fast for the rest of the day.